Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video, I will show you how to use the new useActionState hook for forms in NextJS 15. So previously we used to use something like useFormState, but that is deprecated. We have to use useActionState now. So let's see how to do this. Like there are a couple of things which I want to tell you. So here you can see email and password fields are required. Phone number is required as well, but I have purposefully made it so that we are checking the phone number validation on the server side. We are not like I have not added the required attribute to the input tag of phone number. I have done that purposefully because I want to show you a use case. So suppose if I enter some email ID, okay, I'll enter some password. Now if the user, now we don't have the required tag, okay, and suppose if I try to click on submit, once you click on submit, typically what happens is that these all values are cleared out, but I don't want to clear that out. So that's the use case which I want to show. If I click on submit, it is loading. This is an artificial delay which I have added. I'm not making an API call to my database, but here you can see it is telling me enter valid phone number, but this email and password values are still preserved. So with the help of default value of input tag, we can preserve these values as well. Now suppose if I enter some random number, country field is not mandatory. So even if I click on submit, it will just redirect me to a new page. Here you can see that's what this tutorial is about. And suppose if I go back, if I just click on submit, it is says that please fill out this field. This is the browser error which we get from the required tag. So let's see how to do this. So first I have just created a simple NextJS application using Next 15. The first thing which I have done is inside our page.module.ts, here I have just added one style for error, just so that whenever there is an error the border color changes. Then I have created a server action. So for that, inside src I have created a folder called actions and I have named it as odd.ts. You can name it whatever you feel like. Important thing is here it should be marked as use server. Okay. Then here I have also created one types folder as well for login.ts. So here you can see I have created this login form data which takes email, password, phone number as well as country. Country is optional. And here I have created this action response which is useful. So it will either return a success, it will return an message, okay, and this will be written for error. So if you saw for phone number, right, apart from displaying the red color thing, I am also displaying the error, right? And then here we have this login form data which we have this. So here I am also getting this login form data because in case of error, like for the phone number field when not entered, whatever was entered in email and password, we need to preserve that. That's why this input field is also used. Then coming back to actions, server actions. So firstly I have imported all this. Then here I have created this login user. It takes a previous state, it takes the form data and it responds with an action response. So here you can see I have added an artificial delay. You should not use this in production because I don't have an API call. That's why I have added this artificial delay. Then here I am getting the email, password, phone number as well as country field, okay, in form of raw data. Then here, even though I have added some required field, a required attribute to our input field for email, suppose I want to add some extra validations as well. So here I have just taken one random validation, less than one. This doesn't make sense, but here you can actually check whether the email is in proper email format or not. So something like that, it's very difficult to check only with HTML, right? Maybe you have some advanced use case for additional validation. So for that, those kind of logic can be written on the server action side. So here I have kept things simple. Again, the required attribute already does the job, but again I have just added it just for the sake of it. So here I'm passing the success, this is the message, here is the error, and here we are again passing the raw data because in case if the user has entered the password and phone number, we need to preserve that. That's why whatever the user has entered previously, we are sending that back again as well. Otherwise, if you don't send this back, the inputs would be cleared out. Similarly, I have done same thing for password field as well. So here only password is the error. Same for phone number as well. Phone number is the error. I have not added for country because country is optional. And if you don't want to redirect to some other page, you can either send this return, okay, then this redirect will never get called. But in case of success, you can do this redirect as well. So make sure this redirect is outside try cache. It should not be inside try block. Otherwise there will be issues. And in case of error, I'm just returning this back to the user. Okay. So hopefully you got the point. Pretty simple server action. That's what this is. Now let's see the HTML code which we have. So the next thing is just going back to our React.js code. So like I said, we are using this use client hook directive, I guess. And here we have just imported useActionState from React, some styles for that border thing, then the login user server action which we have created, as well as the action response. Then I have just created this action response initial state, success is false and message is also empty. Then you use this use action state. So here we pass our login user action as well as the initial state, and it will give us back the form state action as well as is pending. So we just create a normal form, pass our action to it. Then here I have just created one div so that all our input elements are in a column direction vertically. Then I have just created this input. Here you can see I have passed this required. The name and the ID are important, so make sure you give that as well. If you want, you can give type as well, but yeah, I have not given that. It's up to you. If you want to give a type as well, you can do that. Then this is also important, default value. So like I mentioned, we are passing this particular value from our this particular thing, right? Where did it go? From our inputs, so that once in case if there is any error while submitting, whatever data we have entered, that is preserved. So that's why this default value thing is important. Then I have just taken this ID as well as placeholder, and here I have just taken a class name. In case if there is any errors related to email, then I can just display this error with our styles. Otherwise I'm just displaying an empty quotes. And in case if there is any error with email, then I'm just displaying a p tag. Similarly, I have done it for password as well. Required name, min, max length, placeholder, default value as well. And here I have given it an ID. Again, ID is very important, as well as name. And here I have just taken the class name just to change the border style in case if there is any error. And I'm also displaying the error with the help of a p tag. Then here I have taken the phone number. Now here you can see I have not added any required annotation, required attribute, I mean. I have done that purposefully, because sometimes the HTML, like I mentioned previously, the HTML attributes are not enough. Sometimes you have to add your custom validation, and for that you require JavaScript, and that can be only done on the server action side. That's why, just to simulate that particular use case, I have not added this required attribute. And same thing we are doing in case if there is any error, we are just displaying the p tag, and we are changing the style as well. And here is our input placeholder of country, name country, default value as well, ID country, and class name as well. And here we just do form state dot errors dot country as well. So that's what we are displaying now. Here you can see with the help of this is pending callback, we can either disable the button, but whenever this is pending state is true, I'm hiding the button completely and I'm displaying a loading indicator. You can change the loading indicator, but here for the button, make sure you add this type submit as well. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.